what's up YouTube? So I recently created a new TikTok account and I uploaded my first TikTok. And basically what it is me going to my car and sampling all the different sounds I can find and making a beat out of it. And so I want to make a video on how to sample sounds and also how to create music using the sounds around us. And so I'm going to start out by showing the TikTok that I made, and then I'll show you how I made it. Let's go! Let's go! Alright, so the first thing I did was I took all the audio and I brought it into FL Studio, and this is what it sounds like. So yeah, pretty noisy and nothing musical going on there. But what I did was I went through and I found a few things that sounded good that I could use as like a kick, a snare, like a melody line, a synth, a hi-hat, you know, all that. And so here's what I did to start out. I first started with the horn when I pressed the horn on the car, and that's what I made into my melody. And so this is what the horn sounds like on its own. Right? And so then you take that horn and I sent it to track number 1. On track number 1 I had a reverb and an EQ that I added, and so this is what it sounds like with that EQ on. I'll turn the reverb off. I basically cut out all the high end and the low end, that way all you get is that like isolated horn sound. Right, so that sounds a lot better than before, and then I added a reverb and it sounded like this. And yeah, so pretty simple. I took that and I created like a basic melody, and it sounds like this. Yeah, so pretty simple, nothing much to it. Just 4 notes, something to go off of. And after that, I really wanted like a pad or some kind of like synth that I could use. And so I found this beeping sound right here. And this is what it sounds like. That's from like when I turn the car on, it goes beep beep. But I took that and went to audio editor and isolated the sound, dragged it down, sent it to channel 2, and I added some chorus to it, compressor, reverb, and an EQ. And so what the EQ does is the same as the horn. It cuts out all the highs and it cuts out all the lows. And when I do that, it sounds like this. So it's like a clear sound instead of what it was before, like a harsh beep. And so I took that and I actually laid down some chords with it on my keyboard, and we came up with this. This is what it sounds like with all of them together. Okay, so the next step was to make a drum pattern, right? And so what I did was I found a kick sound from when I was hitting the dash. And so then I put it in audio editor and got this out of it. That's a solid kick sound, right? And so you bring it out, and then I sent it to track 4, I think this one. And I like the kick enough that all I did was I added an EQ to it. And all the EQ does is it cuts out the high end, so you get rid of that like scratchy, fuzzy sound, and instead all you have is the bass. Yeah, so that's all it sounds like. So the next was I needed to make a hi-hat. So for my hi-hat, I took this, I isolated like a hit sound, and this is what it sounds like. I was just hitting like a piece of plastic basically with my knuckle, and this is what I did to it. I added a reverb, a compressor, and an EQ. And so the EQ, what it does is it cuts out the low end of the sound and just leaves the high end, and it boosts it around 1000 hertz. So that gets rid of the muddiness of it. And then I added a compressor to boost that high end sound, and then a reverb to make it wider, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, so I added that in, and then I needed a hi-hat. And here's what I used for that hi-hat. Basically, it's just me turning on the blinker signal, and so it's really faint sound. And this is the one that I had to add like a lot of compression and boosting to really bring out the sound. And so what I did is I went to audio editor, Edison, and basically just selected that sound. I had to zoom in really close to get it, but this is basically what you come out with. I don't know if you can hear that, but I bring that out and I sent it to track number 3. So I added Soundgoodizer, parametric EQ, and reverb. And so what the EQ did, I'll start with that, is I really boosted the high end like as much as I possibly could, which you wouldn't want to do with sounds generally, but like I had to bring out the sound. And then I dropped down the low end and just left that because there's basically nothing there anyway. Then I added the Soundgoodizer. What this is it's basically like a saturation knob. It's a stock FL Studio plugin. There's better saturation plugins that you can get even for free, but I just wanted to keep this one simple, so I used the Soundgoodizer and I used it about 3/4 of the way, and that brought out sound, and then also reverb. And this is what it sounds like with all those effects. And as you can see, the sound was definitely boosted. So I put together a drum loop, which I already showed you, and basically this is what it sounds like. And I can go over another video how I made the drums. I'm just going to keep this one simple on how I use the samples. The last couple things I added was like a build-up, which sounds like this. And that actually came from my car too. It was like the ambient noise when I was turning on the car. And I added volume automation to make it sound like it was building up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I added my own voice to make like a drop, and I put a delay and reverb on it. Let's go. So yeah, that's about it. This is what the beat sounds like all together. Let's go. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.